What's up? It's Cherith, the Starry-Eyed Tarot Reader. It's been a while since you've seen my face, but I've moved. I have a new place. Still a bit of a work in progress here, but it looks better every single day. I got my little orangutan behind me here. He came out of storage. Things have been in storage for a little while. I wanted to do a little life update in this video. I'm actually planning on recording 4 videos today. Hopefully I can get them to work. As I have a new setup. As I mentioned in a couple previous videos that will be posted by the time this one is, my ring light died, so I had to get a new ring light, have a new phone set up, have a new microphone. Show my cool microphone. That's hooked up right now. Hopefully it's catching my voice. Otherwise I'll have to re-record this and that'll be fun for me. But yeah, I wanted to give just a little update since the last time that you saw my face. Since last time I posted a video. Well, not since the last time I posted a video, but there was a gap between posting videos from October to, well, just about a month and a half ago. By the time you see this one, that's because that I decided to sell my old place and buy a new place. And in the process of doing that, I had to do staging and stuff. So everything kind of got packed up. And I haven't had access to a lot of my cards and all of my recording equipment. And then my recording equipment that I've been using decided to die. So that was fun. Had to get new recording equipment. Woo! But so the plan right now is I'm going to record videos and edit, upload. I type all subtitles myself. I think it's really important to have that, and I like to be able to hey Figaro, she's a blanket on the floor over there. Just finished organizing in here or reorganizing a little bit, so she's exploring. But the plan right now is to post a video every 2 weeks. I'm going to try to post them on Monday. And like I said, record various videos throughout the intervening weeks. And then, like I said, edit, upload, do all the fun stuff for YouTube. Yay! So the plan right now is every 2 weeks I have a video coming out on August 7th. I think it's August 7th. You'll see it by the time you see this one, because it's probably gonna be the third or fourth video. Hopefully the third video that you see. So this one should come out August 14th, and then it'll be every 2 weeks. After that will be video. Like I said, I'm recording hopefully 4 videos today. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna flip the camera so you face down to my new setup on my desk. Yay! I have a lot more room now. I'm very excited. So we'll flip down, and today I am recording a video response to Lisa and Peggy. This is a bit of an older hashtag that was going around. It was one that they put together during one of their lives called 21 Tarot Questions. So I'll be going through 21 questions. I have a deck for each question. On some of them I have more than one deck, because why would I limit myself to one? So we'll go ahead and flip the camera around now and start that. Alright, so as I said in the first part of the video, this is a video response to Lisa and her wife Peggy over at I think Lisa's channel is Lisa Pophez, and Peggy's channel is Peggy Does Tarot. I believe they also have a channel that they're doing together now. I'll link all of those below so you can check those out. They're pretty cool. I've followed Lisa and her wife for a while for the tarot stuff. They're pretty cool. They're a lot of fun. So we'll go through these questions. And for most of them, I have one deck. For at least a couple of them, I've cheated and I have more than one deck as an answer. These were supposed to be rapid fire, first thing you think of. That turned out not to be the case. I struggled with some of these coming up with like an answer. I actually have one that I don't, two of them that I don't really have an answer for. I'll explain more when I get there. All right, so the first question is, what is the deck they'll have to pry out of your cold dead hands? And I actually have 3 decks for this one. 3 guesses on what the first deck is, and the first 2 don't count. It's the Lubanko Tarot. Really shouldn't surprise anyone. This is my ride or die deck. I will always have this deck. I actually was very sad. I was going to get a second copy of this deck when there were still some available from EL. And they sold out before I could get a second copy, so I just have the one. This is one of my all-time favorite decks. I think I've mentioned it in several tarot videos that I've done. One of these days I'll get around to doing like a deep dive and really talk about this deck and all the ways that it affects me. Oh no, don't be damaged. You're the only deck I have. You're the only copy I have. Oh no. If I ever get a chance to get another copy, I will get one, because this one is pretty. I mean, it's got some use. It's getting a little beat up, and I don't want it to get beat up because it's the only one I have. But that's the first deck they'll have to, pry out of my cold dead hands, because I'm never ever giving this deck up. All right, then the next one that I actually put in this category of they'll have to pry from my cold dead hands, and it's not because this deck is no longer available, because it is, but this one is more this particular deck, not the Dark Days Tarot, because I can get another copy. I'm fairly certain that I looked the other day and the creator still has copies. There's their website right there, Dark Days Tarot. And they have several other decks, but for me, it's this particular copy of this deck. I bought this used. I keep a little stone in there. It's one of the only decks that I have that I keep a little stone in there. I occasionally will crunch up some sage and put it in there. It's the only deck I do that with. This is a very, I bought this deck used. It took a while for us to really mesh. I don't think, it's going to sound weird, like anthropomorphize my decks, but there's definitely like an energy of unhappiness when I first got this deck. So I did a lot to connect with this deck, and I won't be without this particular copy. They can, pry it out of my cold dead hands. That's the Dark Days Tarot, this particular copy of the deck. Yeah, you can tell I bought it used. It's been pretty heavily used. There's damage to the box, but I love her. I get along well with her. The third one, like I said, I cheated on some of these, so but the third one I put in the category of they'll have to pry from my cold dead hands is the Heart of Faerie. This is Brian Froud. I believe this is the one he did with his wife, and it is out of print. It took a lot for me to find this deck. I actually wound up buying it from an ARC thrift store in, I think, like Indiana or something. Why in the world they had this on eBay, I have no idea, but they did. It's the full deck. It's funny because it's pretty obvious that it's 2 different decks put together. Like the cardstock is different. You can see how like flimsy that is, and then halfway through, it's suddenly like much thicker, or not much thicker, but it's thicker and stiffer. It's very odd, but it is the full deck. It is absolutely beautiful. I love working with this deck. One of my favorite cards. Oh no. Yeah, it took so much to find this deck, and they can pry it from my cold dead hands. All right. The next question is, what is your guilty pleasure deck? And a couple of the videos that I watched, the people responding had a hard time with this question. And I'll be honest, I did too. I don't keep my decks like, they're right in my living room. They live in the, in the cabinet where my television is. So I don't really, like, I'm not ashamed of my decks. I'm not ashamed of being like a tarot reader or anything. But then one of the videos I watched, they said that they looked at that question as more of like, what deck do you have in your collection that if a fellow tarot reader came along and saw it, you would be like, oh, yeah, that one. And while I wouldn't necessarily be ashamed of having this deck, I would have a lot of excuses for why I have it. It's the Happy Tarot. And honestly, there's no reason except that it just is happy. Everything about this deck just makes me smile. It's candy, it's cotton candy, gumdrop, candy cane, ice cream, goodness, sweetness. It's a shot of sugar. It is so cute. It also makes me think of the Candy Kingdom in Adventure Time, which I really like that show. It's a cartoon show, but I love it. It's like a kid's show. This looks like one of the characters in the show. But yeah, this is definitely a guilty pleasure deck. It is ridiculously sweet. But I love it. So there we go. That's my guilty pleasure deck. Oh, those backs are just gorgeous. All right. The next question is, what's the deck you wish existed? Literally, I knew my answer immediately on this one, and I don't have it to show you because it doesn't exist, but I'll put screenshots. Mass Effect, the video game Mass Effect. If somebody could make like a full 78 card tarot deck based on Mass Effect, BioWare, please let somebody do this for you. Like, that video game has taken over my life. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's everything. I would just love it if I could have a tarot deck based on Mass Effect. There's so much that they could do. It's 3 video games. Like, there's so much there. They could absolutely make a tarot deck based off of it. Yeah. Mass Effect. That's my answer. Agreed, Serenity. Now I'm just giving myself time to put up screenshots. I'll have a lot. I love that video game. I love it so much. All right, the next question is, what deck would you give a new reader? I always have trouble with this question, and it's probably because when I started on reading tarot, I didn't start with the Rider-Waite. In fact, I had a number of decks before I had a Rider-Waite Smith deck. My first tarot deck was the Crow Tarot, and then I got the Faerie Tarot and the 8 Coins Tattoo Tarot. It was a while before I got a traditional Rider-Waite Smith deck. So I always have trouble with, like, what deck would you give a new reader, because it depends on the person. In my opinion, it depends on who's asking me. Is it my mom? Because if it was my mom, I'd probably get her something like the Unfolding Path Tarot or the Light Seers, even the Good Tarot, something that is a little bit more modern, a little bit less confronting than the traditional Rider-Waite Smith. If it's my dad, I'd probably get him the traditional Rider-Waite Smith, or maybe the Thoth Tarot. If it's my brother, I'd get him something unusual like the Hayworth Tarot. My sister-in-law, probably get her like Modern Witch Tarot. It would depend on the person, and I would ask anybody that asked me for a recommendation. I would ask them, okay, well, like, what sort of art style do you like? Are you drawn to the traditional Rider-Waite? Do you want to learn that system? Do you want to learn Thoth, Marseille, Triumphi? Like, what system would you prefer to learn? Do you want something traditional, modern? Do you want something in between those? Do you want something that is outside of all of that and basically reinvents the system? It depends on the person. I don't have a set answer for this because it would depend on who's asking. The next question is, what deck do you want to get along with, but it just never clicked? I'm actually going to skip this question for a minute. I'll come back to this because I'm actually combining this with another question. So on to number 6. What deck do you only keep for the art? And that is this beauty here. This is the True Black Anniversary Edition. This cover is fabric. It is gorgeous colored holographic design on it. Comes with a special little like 5th anniversary limited edition. So pretty rainbows. Hopefully that's picking it up. It looks like it is. All right. So I actually have the True Black, just the regular one, and I'm getting Arthur Wing's new deck, Ephemer? I don't know. But it's one that's like all white. I cannot wait. But I got this one because the True Black is one of those classic, in my opinion, classic decks in the tarot community. And so it's kind of nice to have like let's celebrate 5th anniversary of this deck and get something that's really cool like this. I might read with this someday. I might switch it out for my other one, but I've worked with the other version of the True Black enough so that it works pretty well. This one you can tell it still like sticks because I haven't actually taken it out because I just bought it to be part of the like 5th and I bought it because it's cool. I bought it for the art and for the rainbow holographic that he added to this art. Just so beautiful. Oh. Trying to get it to like do the rainbow. But that's the only reason I have this. I keep this deck just for that. So that's my answer. Number 7 is, what deck did you buy because everyone else did? I actually can't find this deck because I have put it aside to get rid of it. I'll put a screenshot in, but it's the Starchild Akashic. I actually got the Starchild because a lot of the tarot readers that I was watching at the time had the Moonchild. And I had looked at that one and it was bigger and I didn't really feel like I would connect with that, but I saw the Starchild Akashic and I thought I'll give that one a try. I watched a couple walkthroughs. It looked like it, would be a great one to work with. I worked with it well for a little while and then I just couldn't. And I'll actually talk about this. I'm planning on doing a video to run down the decks I worked with in 2022. And I'll talk about that, but it just became such a disconnect for me with that deck that I got so mad at it that I didn't want to work with any of my decks for like a month. So I've actually put it aside to move it on. In all of them move. I don't know where exactly it is. I know it's around here somewhere. Just not sure exactly where, but it's here. So that's, yeah. I bought it because everyone else did, and I kind of regret that. Number 8. So number 8 is, what deck is over your head or just baffles you? And this is also my answer for number 5. What deck did you want to get along with, but it just never clicked? And that's the Wooden Tarot. This deck. I worked with this deck in July. I want to love this deck. I want to understand this deck. For some reason, I can't figure it out. And it's so frustrating. I worked with it as a full deck for half of July, and then I tried working with it as a majors only deck. So part of it is all the suits are renamed. So you have blooms for cups, bones for pentacles, stones for wands, and plumes for swords, I think. And that's part of the problem. I can't remember which renamed suit is supposed to be which. So like when I'll be shuffling and I'll pull out like, you know, the four of stones. I'm like, well, what is that? Or I kept pulling the 7 of stones. And every time I pulled it, I would start to read it as the 7 of swords, but it's the 7 of wands. And it just got to the point where it was just frustrating to try to figure out which suit is this? What is this supposed to be telling me? And I would pull cards and I would look at them and I would just have nothing. I just get nothing from it. To say it was frustrating is an understatement. It was a lot. It was just aggravating. So then I tried working with it as a majors only because the art is just stunning. Even in the minors, like the artwork is just absolutely beautiful. And I want to understand you. I just don't. I just don't. It just is beyond me, honestly. And I think I might wind up moving this one on at some point. I'm going to put it away for a while and see how I feel. Like, I love that card. But when I went to working with it as majors only, one of the last cards I drew was the Fool card, and it just kind of felt like the deck was laughing at me. Like it was taunting me. And I was like, oh, okay, well, you know, we might just be done. It's fine. So that's my answer to number 5 and number 8. Number 9 is what deck surprised you? And that is going to be this little beauty, the Nicoletta Ceccoli. I actually got this gifted to me from a friend. She was having issues working with it, and she didn't want to get rid of it, so she offered to let me have it, and I was like, sure, I'll give this weird little deck a go. I like miniature decks, so I was like, I'll just add it to my miniature deck collection. And I actually found I work with this deck very well. I love this weird little deck. It is so weird, but it's a kind of weird that I can understand and I can get on board with. And I pull this deck out and I can pull a card and I know what it's saying to me. I understand. I understand your language. I speak your language, apparently. Don't speak Wooden Tarot's language. So that's number 9. Number 10, I don't have a deck for this. So number 10 is what deck doesn't really work for you, but you keep it because it's a collectible. I don't have a deck for this. Whoop. Sorry. Bumped my camera. I don't have a deck for this one because right now the decks I have that I think would be considered collectible, I work with very well. I also am not sure what decks I might have that would be considered collectible, so I also don't have a deck for this because I'm not sure what decks I have would be considered collectible, so I don't have one for this. Pass. Number 11 is what deck is your favorite gilded deck? I actually have 2 for this. And the first one is the Yokai Yochi deck by Bubo Plague. It's so gorgeous. I just love the way this gilding feels. It feels silky, and I don't know if part of that is because the cardstock is like a linen cardstock, but it's a thinner linen than some of my other, and I don't know, everything about this just feels, like I said, it feels like silk. Like it just is so smooth and so nice. This is such a cute little deck. Just flip through really quick. Even though we're talking about gilding. It's another weird little deck, but I speak this one's language too. These are the backs. Like I said, I just love this gilding. It feels so smooth and so luxurious. It's by far my favorite gilding on a deck. The other one that's my favorite is the Oriens Tarot Mini. And the reason the mini and not the full size is my favorite, these were the indie versions, by the way. I got these before the deck went mass market. So the full size one I have has the red gilding, but the mini has this rainbow. It's like this rainbow gilding, and it's so pretty. Like, half the reason I got it was because of the rainbow gilding. I also just really like this deck. It's a great little deck. But yeah, that's my other favorite gilding because it's rainbow. It's so pretty. All right. Number 12. Which deck do you love but hate the cardstock? That one was actually pretty easy. It's the Light Visions Tarot. Oh, this cardstock. Like, I have rose petal cardstock from other decks. I have the True Black Tarot. That's a rose petal. I find that far easier to work with than this. I have the Iris Tarot. It's rose petal. It's far easier to work with than this. This just, sometimes it feels like it hurts my hands trying to get it to do something. Hold, please. Serenity is playing in the other room and meowing loudly because apparently she needs me to go and stare at her. I'm not going to do that. Like, I can get this to work. You'll hear her. I'm so sorry. I can get this to work. It's one of those that I've worked with it enough that when I shuffle it, I can get it shuffled pretty easily. Oh my god. Bumped my camera when I had to go check on the cat, so I apologize if the view is suddenly different. Friggin' cat. She's literally sitting in the middle of the rug in my living room, dining room area, just meowing, playing with a toy, meowing. Cats. Anyway, back to the video. What was I talking about? Deck do I love but hate the cardstock. And I know that James R. Eads has since updated the cardstock, but if I did that, I'm working with this deck this month, so it's out of order. If I got the updated one, it wouldn't have the same extra card that this one does. This is the Alcahest one. And if I got the newer edition, it wouldn't have that. So I stick with this. Also, I really do like the muted gold edging on this, and it's a beautiful deck. I absolutely love this deck. It is gorgeous, but man, this cardstock. Had to learn new ways of shuffling and working with decks because of this cardstock. Alright, next question. What deck gives you the willies? This is also one I don't have. I don't own it. I actually have two decks as an answer for this. I'll put screenshots or pictures of them on the screen. The first one is the Deviant Moon Tarot. I've thought about, I've been close to purchasing that deck, and there's something about that artwork, that deck, honestly pretty much all of Patrick Valencia's decks. No offense to anybody who likes them or to him. But I can't. There's something about his artwork that it bothers me. It really does. The other one, this is going to sound weird, but the other one is the Fountain Tarot. There's something about that deck. I see pictures of it and it just feels extremely cold. And I can't. It weirds me out. I don't like it. Anyway. The next question is, what's your favorite deck for shadow work? There's going to be so much blank screen here. Sorry. I don't have a deck for this. Partly because, and maybe I don't understand people's definition of shadow work, but I'll use all of my decks for that. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Number 15 is, what deck do you love in theory but not in practice? This one just breaks my heart. It's the Grimalkin Tarot. In theory, I should love this deck. It's all cats. It's just cats. It is a deck of cats and more cats. And cat, it's just like, I should love this deck because it's just cats. But I have had so many, I just have issues connecting with this deck, and it breaks my heart because I also love MJ Kulinane's artwork. Like literally, in theory, I should love everything about this deck. I love the creator. I love cats. Like, there's nothing about this deck that shouldn't work amazingly for me. But it is not one that I would reach for. If given the chance, it would probably just sit and collect dust. And it's another one that, unfortunately, and it's the indie version, which also breaks my heart because, like, you know, supporting the artist and everything, I should love the shit out of this deck, and I don't seem to. It's probably one I'll put aside for a little while, see how I feel about it in like a year or two. But it breaks my heart a little bit that is one that, in theory, everything about it should work amazingly for me, and it doesn't. Number 16 is, what deck would you never use to read for someone else? And I'm actually going to have a repeat here. This really shouldn't be a surprise. It's the Lubanko Tarot again. Oh my god. This deck is my deck. I might use it to read for someone else if it was the right person, but for the most part, this is always just going to be for me. The other deck I have for that is my Santa Muerte Tarot. It lives in this gorgeous box. Santa Muerte. That one's become a very personal deck for me, and I've read for it with someone else. I think I mentioned this in another video. I have read for one other person, and I kind of regret that. And I don't think I would ever use it to read for someone else again. So that's that one. Number 17 is, what deck would you never use for yourself? I don't read for other people. I read for family and friends. But if I ever did start reading for other people, or read more for family and friends, this is probably the deck I would say I would stop using for myself and start using it exclusively for other people. Part of that is I've already kind of done that. Not that I have stopped using it for myself, but I've used it for my family a number of times. And it's a great reader. It's a great little deck. It's pretty simple and easy and clear, and it's, beautiful, fairly non-confronting. So I think it would be a good deck to read for other people. And like I said, if I ever started doing that, then yeah, I probably would stop reading it for myself and just use it exclusively for others. Number 18 is what deck could you not bring yourself to buy? Don't cancel me for this. It's the Spirit Keepers Tarot. I'll put a screenshot up here. It is... Benabel Wen has created an amazingly gorgeous deck. I think she's done several versions now. Like, every single one is just stunning. The amount of work, the amount of detail, everything about the deck is absolutely beautiful. I could not bring myself to buy it because it is a deck that you sit and you study for like a year or more. And I'm already like deep into learning tarot. I'm trying to learn runes. I have a geomancy set sitting over here that I want to eventually pick up and do something with. And adding Spirit Keepers to that, it's just too much. So I couldn't bring myself to buy it, but it is a stunning deck. Like, absolutely everything about it is just beautiful. All right, number 19. What's your favorite Pip deck? I only have like two Pip decks. I think I only have 2 Pip decks. I don't read Pip decks a whole lot. So my answer is going to be one of my 2 Pip decks. Marshmallow Marseilles. I adore this little deck so much. It's so cute. It's messy. It's out like outside the lines. And I've said this before. I talked about this in one of my deck collection videos. I'll link to it. But this is... It's such a cute little deck, and it is Pip deck. The minors are just, was that 5, 6, 7? I can count 7 cups. They got the wands. They're just wands. You got the pentacles are just, 3 pentacles. There's nothing else there. It's a Pip deck. It's a Marseille deck, so it's Pip deck. It's one of only 2 Pip decks I have, so yeah, I'd say it's my favorite Pip deck. Here's back. Oh. Sorry, it's getting late. I'm punchy. I've had a long day. Number 20 is what deck slaps you with the truth? And this is part of the reason that having the issues I've had with the Grimalkin Tarot is so hard for me, because the answer to number 20 of what deck slaps you with the truth is Crow Tarot. My very first by MJ Cullinane. I love this deck. This is another one that, like, if it weren't mass market and readily available, still readily available, like, it would be one you could pry from my cold dead hands. I love this deck. Serenity! Sorry, I'm not getting up again. No. Be done. I love this deck. This deck slaps me with the truth. I've worked with it for long enough that it doesn't pull punches. It tells me straight up. It's honest. It does not let me get away with anything. I love this deck. So that's the answer to number 20. Number 21 is what's the deck that got away? I'll put up a screenshot for this. Obviously, it got away, so I don't have it. It's the Majestic Earth Tarot. I missed the boat on this tarot in just every single way. I missed the Kickstarter by like that much, and then like the extra decks were available on Amazon for a hot minute. I missed that by this much, and just every like turn that deck was available for a reasonable price, I missed it by just narrowly, barely missing it. I've looked at other decks like that, and what I love about that deck, or what I've fallen in love with about that deck, maybe one day I'll find this in another deck, or I'll get lucky and I'll find the Majestic Earth for a reasonable price on eBay. Haven't yet. Maybe I will. But what I like about that deck, from what I've seen, is the feeling of... It's not just the feeling of space, because there's decks that do that really well. it's the feeling of, now I can't think of the word. Serenity is distracting me with her meowing. It's the feeling of being small in front of something bigger than yourself. Like the way that those pictures are, the landscapes are just, they're larger than life. They're huge, and it just feels like you're very small standing in front of like these huge mountains. And I like that. And that if I had known that deck was out there before it like disappeared forever, I would have gotten that in a heartbeat. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. So that is my 21 tarot questions, my video response to the hashtag 21 tarot questions. Like, comment, subscribe. I can talk. Like, comment, subscribe. There we go. All that fun stuff. And bye till next time.